What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Starting this week off with the trade analysis so I can show you guys the trades that I took. We'll walk through those and then we'll go through the weekly SPY and Q analysis as we usually do. So the screen divided over here into the left side is the Q's 1 minute and the right side is the SPY 1 minute. So of course you guys know I trade the SPX option. So one of the really good trades I took this week, and I want to show you that with you guys, is the SPX calls. Okay, I took 5 contracts right on this green candle here at 746. We entered 5 call contracts as we were kind of coming up in here. Okay, it would have been better to enter on this red, but that's okay. Still was good. Your 737.50 was a great support. We already had bounces here, and then over here on Q's, what really helped me take this trade was I was seeing this blue algorithm selling more heavy. You can see it was probably used here, and then it started tapering into this orange algorithm, and then there was this green, and I saw this left shoulder setting up. I was like, okay, maybe we can sell lower. I saw the orange, and then once we started getting back in here, I was willing to take this risk right around here to grab liquidity. Okay, that's what helped me here. On the SPY, you can tell we went from the blue algorithm to that yellow in this important zone I have highlighted. And so that allowed me a good risk to reward trade, and I was out right around here around VWAP. So got in about 1670 per contract for 5 contracts and got out around 1990. Of course, this went really, really nicely. But again, we're not here to hold the whole move. So that was the first trade I took. The second trade I took was right around here, and this one of these candles right here. I forget the exact time, 8:12 or 13, because at that time we saw the Qs break out of this green sideways algo. We were we pretty much went above this resistance at 687.80. Okay, we shot through it, and then when you started using that orange algo to then find support, and when we were getting these strong volume candles, said, okay, that's a pretty good place to take a trade. And so I got in here and I was out within like a minute on another really good trade. So um, you don't have to trade for long. You just have to make sure your risk reward is defined. And obviously you guys know on SPX, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, like you're pretty much done. And sometimes you don't want to hold longer than that because it can turn, and you know how that goes. So I think those were some really good trades. Wanted to share with you guys. So let's get into the analysis. All right, guys. So starting off on the SPY's daily time frame, as you can see, we've got those retested that 750 level, got that nice rejection down on a gap down. And then on Friday, pretty much had like an inside day. We tried to break the range out, we never tested the lows of Thursday, and just kind of closed in between. I am watching that 737.50 to 738 as a demand zone. It's been important in the past as well. 736.12, and then my major level, I don't have charted yet, but 732 on the bottom end, which has been a real nice support. So one thing we want to watch is this week's the FOMC meeting. So what are we doing to the 20-day and 50-day moving average? And we got to watch for this lower Bollinger Band if we're trading down. But 740 is our major level here. Do we reject this 740 and come down, or are we going to accept above and then start moving back up? So let's look at it on a 1 hour, right? So right here is your 740. As you know, this is a very important zone. If we are rejecting 740, we may be moving down into this bottom range up to about 732. And so, that's going to be important to know, are we in that zone or what zone are we in, right? So 732 is very important support if we go towards the downside, and 740 could be in resistance. If we regain 740, I'd be looking for the bulls to retake control to test the moving averages like the 5-day, the 20-day, okay? But we have some strong selling here. So that's going to be important to watch. I'll be really watching 740 when the market opens, even 741, just because they can fake you out and then at lower. If you're looking, this possibly could be, if this was that 5-day rejection, we still could come to 742 forming this, right? and then break this low to test low of day. So that's a possibility that could happen. If it doesn't, we've defended the zone, then I'd be looking for the 740 reclaim to test 744 in the 5-day area. So we'll be watching that. Keep a lookout for that. And then on the 1 minute, I mean, Friday, obviously, your 743, where the 5-day was up here at that time intraday. We had the rejection. We sold right back into the zone. You can see 730, 750, 738. Very good demand so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 different bounces at that time. And, that's going to be important to watch. So let's see if we can't reclaim that 740 level, maintain, and then go from there. Okay. Let's look at the Qs now. So for the Qs, we have been outside the Bollinger Band here. We traded here, we bounced back in, we closed outside the Bollinger Band. Now, typically the market doesn't do that, so I'd be looking for some kind of bounce coming up this week, especially because we have important FOMC minutes. I mean, not minutes, but the Fed meeting to see what the interest rate's going to do. So everybody's going to be watching that. Some points of safety are usually like the 5-day. So the level that they should be reclaiming 685 is what they don't want to undercut, and that's what we'll be watching. And then this basically the 695 to 696 area will be important to reclaim. And then before this, major put wall was at 700. That was a very important level. So just psychologically, it's important. So that the bulls would want to get back around 700 if we're going to be buying this up. Okay, so that'll be something I'm watching. But if there's resistance at this 695 area, then I'd be looking for another retrace lower. And then we'll kind of reassess should we get there. On the hourly chart, again, this this zone here, right? So your 695 area is where we rejected on Thursday. We didn't get there Friday. We kind of came down, made a lower low, which is not a good sign for the bulls. And so there could be a possible inverse head shoulder setting up here. We tried to undercut 685 here. We're undercutting it here, but it looks like overnight we're up again. So do we get something like this? I will be watching that for an up claim. Maybe you want to wait for a cut formation first and then chop around in here and go out. So that might be something to look out for if the tech industry is going to start turning around here. As you know, it can get real bullish quickly for the tech movement. So, that's something to watch out for. Again, here, reiterating that 685, we tried to undercut it, real strong buying up, sold way back down, and undercutting the hair probably trapped a lot of shorts, especially if overnight we're over at 692 back at these highs. So that'll be important to watch out for coming up. If we're going to be selling or buying, that'll just be an important level, especially for sellers to kind of turn into resistance. So main thing again, we got to be looking out for is the Fed meeting this week, and let's see what happens. It's going to be some volatile movement this week. If you can, try not to trade on Wednesday, just because IB Crush really just makes people blow their accounts. Okay, so just be careful trading this week. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Remember to trade less and execute better. Thanks, guys.